Hello, and welcome to another session of Learn with Optmyzr. My name is Fred Vallaeys. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Optmyzr, and we do these sessions every other week to show you some of the new capabilities in the platform, and also just as a general training to keep people on top of the many capabilities that we have in Optmyzr. So for the session this week, we've got a new speaker who you haven't met before on one of these sessions, but you may have spoken to her when you emailed us. And the topic today is about reporting. So specifically multi-account reporting. And as an agency or as an in-house PPC management team, you probably work with more than just Google Ads. You probably have a Microsoft Ads account. You may have an Amazon account, Facebook. You probably have a bunch of Google Analytics data. And so at the end of the day, your boss or your client probably wants to know how everything's doing together. And that's really easy to do through multi-account reports. So to help us talk about that, we have Mari. Welcome to the show, Mari, for your first time.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks for the invitation. Indeed, it's my first rodeo here in Learn with Optmyzr, and I'm really excited to be here to talk about reporting today.
Great. And so you're originally from Finland, but you live in Santiago, right?
That's correct. I'm from southern Finland originally. But I've been here in Santiago for the past 7 to 8 years. I kind of lost track on that already. And with Optmyzr since late 2019.
A long time. Great. So, and anyone watching, this is a live show. So if you have questions for any of us about reporting or other Optmyzr stuff, use the chat capability for that. And if you also want to say hello and where you're calling in from and what the weather is like where you are, that'd be great. I'm in Los Altos in California, in the Bay Area. And after months and months of drought, we finally have some rain. So a little bit depressed about that. We're used to lots of sunshine here in California, but glad to be doing this show. Geetanjali, where are you calling us from today?
From Copenhagen. And after months and months of dark weather, we had sun today.
Very good. Well, good. So, Mari, show us, we got some slides here, right? So I'm going to show everyone those. Agenda-wise, this is what we're going to cover. So multi-account reporting, a couple of specific topics, and I'll cover these. So how to create and set up multi-channel performance reports, not just creation, but obviously also the automation that runs with that. We're going to talk about some of the new reporting widgets that we've made available recently. And then we're going to use labels to make some more advanced reports. And so labels are a really good way to segment your data within the engine and even across engines. And so now you can do things like having a report on brand versus non-brand performance, even if you don't specifically have campaigns that include brand or non-brand name, but you can do that through labels. And then personally, I think the coolest thing that we're going to show you today is how to use the rule engine to create your own sets of data and include those on the reports. So if you are on a team and somebody's really like upset about close variance and how Google's no longer respecting exact match, you could run a report on that from Rule Engine, and you can include it in the scheduled report that you produce on a monthly basis to show to your stakeholders. So that's just one example, but we'll look at a couple of others. So Mari, show us your screen share and walk us through some of these things.
Absolutely. Hopefully you're able to see my screen. Let me know if that's not the case.
We can see it. It's really tiny, so you're going to just do here and there.
Absolutely. So for those new to reporting, I wanted to quickly show you where you can get started with Optmyzr's reporting. I'm not going to go deep into the weeds of how to create everything from scratch, but I'll show you where you can get started. This is something that we cover frequently in our training sessions. So if you want more personalized assistance with this, just hit us up, and we're, of course, happy to help there. So starting with where you can find the reports. They are all located here under the Reports tab. You can also find annual reports now for 2020 that are pre-designed, as well as other pre-designed reports under here in Instant Reports.
Yeah, and if you haven't tried that one, by the way, like that's a great report, right? So every year we come out with the year in review that just shows up automatically in your account. So all you got to do is click on that. We'll generate the whole report. It's pretty interesting. It usually highlights some of our new visualizations, and then you can share that with a client. So that's super easy to do.
Exactly, and any reports, any Optmyzr reports, whether you create them from scratch or whether they're instant reports, you can always personalize them. So feel free to play around and see which data is relevant to your clients or your team, and personalize the reports accordingly. So create edits and reports takes us to this screen here. You can see that there are different tabs for different items here: single account reports and multi-account reports. Just a quick refresher, single account reports basically are templates, as every Optmyzr report is, but it is only for one account at a time. So it can be one Microsoft Ads account, or it can be one Google Ads account. However, multi-account reports are a bit more versatile in that sense. It allows you to create a report that includes data from different platforms, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Facebook, several Microsoft Ads accounts, several Google Ads accounts, whatever combination that is. And it takes the reporting towards more client-level reporting as opposed to more traditional campaign or account-level reporting. I have created a report template here. I can just click on it to view the report. But let's go first take a look at how the creation part looks like. If you want to create something from scratch, you can just click here, create a new report, and you'll get to the editing part right away. So getting started with...
Sorry, one little thing. So it says like create new template. And I know we've talked about this before, but like one thing about Optmyzr is that we tend to structure things around templates so that they become reusable across many accounts. And so that's one of the powerful things, right? You don't have to create one unique report for every client or every account that you have, but you can set up a template that sort of includes all the right bits and pieces. And then you can set that template to connect with the appropriate accounts depending on who the business is, right? So it saves you a lot of work if you're going to repetitively kind of show the same types of things to a variety of different clients. So that's what that is all about.
Thanks for that. Exactly. So starting with the editing part of things here, you can see that I have tons going on here in the report settings. I have included here 3 different date ranges that I want to report on in this specific report template, and all of these are dynamic. So right now I'm looking at last month's data, meaning January, month before that, December of last year. And I also wanted to include last month, last year, to see how that performance has changed from last year. You can add as many date ranges as you want in this report. And all the blue boxes here are account selectors. So these represent different accounts: Microsoft, Google Ads, Facebook, and Amazon. And also something a little bit more granular. You can see that here account selectors 10 and 11 have the same account selected as here in account selector 5. But now I'm using a brand here. And this is one of the newer features that we've added is you can now use Optmyzr labels to differentiate campaigns, not only in Google Ads, not only in Microsoft Ads, but also in Facebook and Amazon. And that really allows you to take the reporting into a more granular level, and might be interesting to see, for example, branded versus non-branded, but also other options are there.
Right. And so for those of you who haven't used reports much in the past, like don't get scared off by like seeing these selectors and like date range pickers and level pickers. Really the easiest way to get started is to go and look at the widgets that you have. And in those widgets, we will ask you, okay, what campaigns or what accounts do you want us to include? At that point, if you haven't set up these selectors, you'll be able to do it from right there and just keep stacking it on, right? So what Mari is showing you here is a report that's already been a bit built out. So it starts with a lot of selectors, a lot of data, but don't let that scare you. That doesn't have to be the first step. If you want to think first about what is it we want to visualize, and then think about which accounts do we need to now include in these visualizations, that works as well.
Perfect. Yes, and absolutely. And these reports are very customizable. So if you take a look at the right side of the, sorry, my zoom is a little bit off. right side of the page, you can see the table of contents, which is basically a drag and drop principle, and you can change the order. You can get to edit a specific widget just by clicking on it, etc. So if you have a long report, this is probably useful, especially in those cases. And when we scroll to the left side, you can see all the different widget categories that there are available. Hovering over a category shows you the exact widgets that are available under each. Here, we're going to focus today is the multi-account data, a little bit other widgets as well, but here we've added a couple of new options for the multi-account data. So these are the templates where you can include data from several different platforms.
And so some of those may not look new, but we've added new data sources to it, right? So remember, Amazon and Facebook can now be included just as well as Google and Microsoft.
Great. So let's scroll past the settings section. This is just for you to set up your own logo, to set up your own footers, headers, whatever it is that you want to do to personalize further these reports. The multi-account KPI widget is not a new one, but it is one of the most popular ones. So I wanted to quickly just refresh on what it is about. So this is a way to include data from multiple platforms. Right now I have these 3 different platforms selected that I've at the beginning included in my account selectors. And this widget just aggregates data for these selected accounts for these metrics that I have selected here under the columns.
Right, and so the KPI is like your key performance indicators. So that's kind of like that big table with big numbers that you generally want to show at the beginning of a report. Super high level, like how much money did we spend, how many clicks, how many conversions did we drive, without really going into granularity of which campaign, which keyword. Just like overall big performance numbers. And by the way, like I'm a huge fan of like not going too deep into reporting, because I figure as the agency or as the PPC expert, it is your job to figure out like, okay, how do we optimize and how do we redistribute budgets between different campaigns, or how do we manage keywords better? So I'm not a fan of showing like lists of hundreds and hundreds of keywords in reports. Those types of reports can be useful internally, right? So we support that too. But these KPI widgets, these are awesome, I think, for sharing with your boss.
Absolutely. And if you want to include more granular data, you want to show this high-level key performance metrics, but also show how that is distributed between the different platforms. One way is to do a include a performance summary table. But the other and a little bit more visual way that I personally am a big fan of is the distribution by segment. And this is one of the newer widgets that we've added. And here we can see immediately which platform is responsible for which portion of, in this case, clicks.
Nice.
If we go back to the, sorry, go ahead, Fred.
No, I'm just saying nice. That's a really cool visualization.
And if we go back here to the editing section, we can if clicks is not the metric that you would like to report on, or you would like to add other metrics there, you can just simply copy this widget and add another metric here, or personalize the metric here, or change the metric here that you want to use in the visualization. Also, as in not only in this report, this widget, but in other widgets as well, you can choose the chart type. So pie chart is my favorite, but there might be users who or clients who prefer another type of widget.
Yeah, one cool way to use this, I think, is to say look at recent distribution and then maybe compare it versus last year. Because I think people are always asking, like, is there something beyond Google that we can do, right? Everybody's kind of like maxing out their budgets on Google. They've optimized that quite well, but they want more conversion. So they look at these next platforms like Microsoft and Amazon. And so this is a really good way to see, like, are you still spending consistently the same amount of money on Google, or is that shifting, maybe due to consumer behavior, maybe due to some other things that you're doing? And I thought it was interesting in the example you just showed that basically 70% of our clicks come from Google, which is, I think, exactly the industry average for the United States. So there you go. You can sort of benchmark yourself against that as well.
And another thing you can do with the whole labels feature that we've added is, so say for example, if you wanted to do a click share by platform, but you only want to do it for your branded campaigns, that's possible as well. So which platform is driving the most traffic for your branded campaigns versus which platforms are driving more traffic for generic campaigns. So it's possible to do that in this widget using labels as well.
Right, and so sort of to bring all of this back now, Mari, if you want to show like the settings for this distribution by segment, okay, and show people where you pick the accounts. So it's under include select accounts, right? So that's where you have CS1, CS2, CS4. That refers back to those things we looked at the beginning, which were the scope selectors. So it doesn't have to be the whole account, like Geetanjali just said. It could be a portion of one of these accounts. So that's where you can bring in labels for campaign selection.
Exactly. So if you remember, we had the account selector 10 and 11, which were labeled campaigns. I could just go ahead and unselect these, select the branded and non-branded campaigns here, and populate the data, populate the report with that data, and see how that distribution is going. Another cool thing that we added here in the multi-account widgets is performance by time. So you can now, of course, it depends on what kind of frequency you have your reports set up. If you have monthly reports, it makes sense to show also how that performance is distributed in different weeks. So how that weekly performance is. If you have annual reports, maybe monthly is more relevant. Weekly reports probably you want to look at daily performance. So you can really pick it up here. And just to show you how that looks like in the final version, here I have, in this example, monthly report, and I'm showing data week by week.
Right, so it's the report for a 1 month period, but segmented by week on each row.
Exactly. So those were the multi-account widgets. Then on the same report, you can, of course, include client level data. So these multi-account widgets that we just took a look at, but you can also go more granular. Freddy's not a big fan, but I know that there are others who are. So what we can do is not only include Microsoft Ads and all these other platforms, Google Ads, but we can also include Google Analytics here. So we can just pull that data from Analytics and report on that as well.
And what's kind of neat actually about excuse me, about Analytics is that so Optmyzr natively connects with Google Ads, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. But say that you're running ads on Twitter, you can actually pull out that segment from your analytics using some of the advanced settings, basically the custom filters, right? So even the platforms that we don't natively support, you can still include on these scheduled reports for yourself.
Exactly. There are a set of stats or dimensions that we support, and you can find all the available ones here in this section. There's a maximum of 7 allowed, so you need to a little bit of optimize what you want to report on, or choose what you want to report on and what you don't need to report on that much. In this example, I chose to take a look at different goal completions, as well as sessions, bounce rate, and average session duration. If I wanted to go more granular, I could enable custom filters and only include data from more strict segments. And just to show you how it looks like. Sorry about that. This is how our analytics key performance metrics would look like with this selection.
Great.
Then moving on to Amazon advertising. So this is one of the newer features again that we've added here. Amazon is a platform that Optmyzr supports and now has more data available. It's more user-friendly now. So if you have accounts, Amazon accounts linked to Optmyzr, I really recommend to come and play around with Rule Engine, with the reports, and see what kind of data you would like to get into your inbox or to your client's inbox regularly. This is performance. I've selected these 4 very basic metrics for this example, but like in other widgets, feel free to come here, see the different data that you can report on and select the one that is relevant for you. And before I show you how it looks like, in the final version, I also wanted to talk quickly about the labels, which is really exciting and which really helps to report on more granular level. Here in this multi-account performance widget, I decided to look at branded and non-branded campaigns. What I did was add those as account selectors in the beginning, and now I can just come here, select the branded labels, non-branded labels, give both a title so I can differentiate them in the final version, and see how those how the campaigns are performing against each other. And now to quickly show you this. This is the performance, overall performance widget, and here's our performance comparison between branded and non-branded. And here we can easily quickly see which is more profitable, which is driving more traffic, etc.
Nice. And so for a long time, we've had labels support for Google Ads, Microsoft as well, but now we've added that for Amazon. And so I believe these are not Amazon labels, right? Because I don't think they have labels. But this is our system for attaching labels to your Amazon campaign so that you can still do these segmentations and reports.
Yeah. So it's possible to do it for both Amazon and Facebook now.
Exactly, and these are Optmyzr native labels, and you can find when we scroll up all the way up to the beginning of the report, and as it loads, sorry, I am in the wrong view here. Looks like I have a little bit of technical difficulties here, but there's a direct pathway to managing labels in Optmyzr. And what we can do here is, like mentioned, not only add Optmyzr labels to Facebook, to Google Ads and Microsoft Ads, but also to Facebook and Amazon.
And I think people didn't see where you did that. So where did you go?
Exactly. So it's at the top of the report designer where you can manage labels. I have a bit of technical difficulties in how the reporter loads, so I wasn't able to get it there. I can try again just in a bit, but it's at the top right corner of the report designer. Okay,
top right of the report. So Ginger, top right of the report designer. That's where you can access your labels.
Exactly. You can create new labels here, see the existing labels right here on the left, and then create new labels for your accounts and for your campaigns. And these will be available in directly in the account selectors when you want to pick up a label there.
Great. Okay, so I think we got one more thing, which is including the data from Rule Engine.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is exciting because it doesn't only allow you to add data from Rule Engine, but from other platforms as well. But one of the newer features that we have added in Rule Engine is the option to export data to a Google spreadsheet. So what that does is you have a Rule Engine strategy, whether it's for search queries or whether it's for close variants or whatever it is that you are finding in Rule Engine, using Rule Engine to find and optimize. You can include that data in a spreadsheet and then link that spreadsheet into the report designer. In this example, I'm looking at new and declining search queries. I can create an automation schedule for this, meaning this tool will run on the back end without the need to actually log in and come and run the tool. So it will run there on monthly basis at a certain hour and generate this report for me. Now I have a spreadsheet where I want to include the data. I just copy the spreadsheet, make sure it's shared with Rule Engine. There's a specific email address for that. And I can add this spreadsheet to the automation schedule. This way, every time the automation runs, it populates the spreadsheet with the data that the Rule Engine generates. And when I go back to the report designer, and just go all the way to the bottom, I am able to add a spreadsheet data table here. There's a widget for this, and it's very simple. Just make sure that the sharing settings are for everybody to view. And then you can include the spreadsheet URL here. Once that is done, you can choose the columns that you want to include in the widget. In this case, I've included all of them, but you can handpick them as well. And what this does is it populates the report with, in this case, the new and declining search queries report that I have running on the back end in Rule Engine.
Very cool. So yeah, and the sky's a little bit the limit on that, right? Remember, with Rule Engine, you can take one of our pre-built recipes or strategies like this one, new and declining search queries, or you can set up your close variant reports, or you could find like campaigns that meet certain criteria where you think maybe you should have done a budget optimization. Set it up whichever way you want, and then you can include these into that report. Again, either a report that's internal to tell you what to do, or a report that you share with your clients to show all of the performance that you've driven for them. And so the other thing to keep in mind, like we're showing you here how to use Rule Engine to put data into our reports, but you don't have to put it into our reports, right? So if you want to do something else with that Google spreadsheet data now, again, the sky's the limit. Put it into Data Studio for all you want, or put it in through Zapier and send it to another place. So, and Dan is asking, like, can we pivot these reports? So Dan, it's funny you ask, because I think at one point we did allow pivoting, but then people didn't quite understand that, so we kind of pulled it back. Geetanjali has something to say on this, I think.
Yeah, so actually this is a use case that someone on the team just shared with us today. Juan, so what you can do is on the Google spreadsheet, because you can specify which tab your data goes in, so you can actually add pivot tables on different tabs. So every time the data is updated on your primary tab or your first tab, the pivot tables and charts can automatically be generated on other tabs of the spreadsheet. So it is possible to do that.
Nice. And now once you have the pivot table, then of course you can't include that anymore, I think. There's probably a bunch of extra.
Yeah. We haven't tried it, I guess.
Dan, you should try it and tell us, and maybe put it on the Super Optmyzr Facebook group. But the whole premise of the spreadsheet is sort of that we expect there to be columns and rows and that it's a fairly flat structure. But kind of the use case here is probably that you want to pivot it and do something else with it. So allows for some pretty powerful things. And what's really nice with the rule engine too is that unlike some other tools that allow you to export Google data into spreadsheets, you then have to do a lot of the post-processing on that spreadsheet. With us, you can actually say, grab me the keyword, but on that same row, put the data from the ad group that the keyword is in and the campaign that the keyword is in, plus include the data from last month and this month. So you basically get this row where the keyword is the thing, but then you get all these other metrics from a variety of elements related to that keyword. And so that'd be quite complicated to do through some of these other tools, but you can do all of that through Rule Engine. And then once you're done with that, now you include it either in a report or you send it to a spreadsheet so you can do something else with it. And you can take these spreadsheets that are output, put them into our reports, but you could even feed them back into the Rule Engine itself, because the Rule Engine also takes spreadsheets as input. So you can do some really nifty things now that data is flowing more freely throughout the system. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So we're a little bit over time, but thanks everyone for watching and taking a look at our new reporting capabilities. Mari, thanks for taking us through it. Geetanjali's got one more point.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing. It's been there for a while, but you can also do reports in multiple languages. So when you preview the report at the top, you can see the different language options. And we also have the markup functionality. So if you need to add a fee, a percentage on top of the cost that's already in the report, you can do that as well in multi-account reports too.
Yeah, Mari there is showing you the where you find the languages for reports. If your language is not supported, shoot us an email. We're happy to work with you on getting that set up. And then as far as, Mari, you want to show the help article there from the help section in the top right?
Yes, I want to show one quick thing here. When you have your report saved and done, remember to schedule it, to run on schedule, so you don't have to worry about it. You can find the report schedules in the same Optmyzr report tab. And one quick thing here, in the editing section here, you have the help section here that includes contextual help articles as well as videos. And here's the manage labels shortcut as well.
Awesome. Good. Well, join us next week. On Wednesday, we're going to do PPC Town Hall. PPC Town Hall next week is agency focused. So the topic is how to succeed as an agency in an ever more automated PPC world. So once you're competing against free tools from Google as an agency, how do you deliver value? How do you communicate that value? So we got some great speakers for that from agencies like Brain Labs, Seer Interactive, AimClear, and we also have an author of a book who's written specifically on this topic, Max Trailer. So join us next week, Wednesday, 9 o'clock, and then the week after that, we'll be back with another Learn with Optmyzr. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a great day.